What's going on, YouTube fam? This your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of Hood Tales, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. For all my day one supporters, welcome back. Y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back in. If you're new to the fam and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely tap that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Now, y'all pay close attention to this story. It's a lot of details, so keep up with me. Let's get right into it. Street life all over the world is pretty much the same. The only thing that might change coast to coast is the weather, the way people talk, the ways they choose to get money, or the reason for certain beefs. If we don't know nothing by now, we do know it's only two endings for real street dudes: prison or the graveyard. It's no pension, no signing bonus, none of that. Maybe just having a couple dollars and a name for yourself as somebody not to play with. But having a name in the streets can also backfire on a person. If your name is always caught up in something in your area or with the police. On another side of that, it's people that might grow up in a certain environment around street activity enough not to be considered green, but still don't know to what extent people will go to make an easy lick and a few dollars. And unfortunately, in certain neighborhoods, not knowing what's going on can make you a target, and you could be looked at as an easy play. And when a blick is put in your face and a person tells you to kick it out, you never know who is behind that trigger, and it can end up deadly. And on this episode of Hood Tales, we will be taking it to Lakeland, Florida, to discuss a case of a robbery gone wrong, leaving one man paralyzed and another with a life sentence. According to sources, Kahim Bennett had a name in the street at a young age, to the point the way he carried himself and the things he got into earned him the nickname Cutthroat. Let's take it back before we get into the main story. Back in 2008, a man named Ernest Allen Jr. was gunned down during a robbery at his home auto repair shop on North Lincoln. The mechanic's case would go cold for years as the family pleaded with the community, but the street code of silence was upheld for years. Fast forward to 2014, at a Chevron gas station on West Memorial Boulevard, a man named Jamal Fleming was with Kahim. Jamal, the passenger of the whip, got out to pump gas when allegedly a car came from the direction of North Brundle Avenue, opening fire while the man was at the pump, unfortunately hitting Jamal, leaving him gone. But local police got tips the drive-by was meant for Kahim and not Jamal, stating there was a war going on and the other side was looking for Kahim, aka Cutthroat. Also, his name will pop up as a suspect in the 2008 hit of Ernest the Mechanic as well. Back then, he was only 15 years old, but the case would still remain unsolved. It was clear Cutthroat was a hot boy. Allegedly, more situations would occur that had his name in the mix, but with no hard evidence, Kahim would remain free. Then in 2015, according to sources, a man named Derek, a Lakeland resident, was enjoying Super Bowl Sunday on January 25th, 2015. Derek and his friends decided they wanted to turn up and buy some grass for the party. The group put their money together so they can grab a zip, and Derek agreed to go to the streets to go cop the smoke, in which he later referred to as the dumbest decision he ever made. While looking for a plug, Derek ended up on 5th Street in Lakeland, where he ran across a friend from high school, a young lady we will call D. It had been years since Derek at the time was 27, so the two decided they would go back to her house and chop it up, as he told her he was trying to buy an ounce. Once they got back to her home, not long after, a silver Dodge Charger pulled up to the curb. Derek, believing this was the plug and he was about to get good, approached the car. It was allegedly a few men in the whip, including Cutthroat. Derek didn't know the men, but they advised him to get in to cop the grass. He got to the back driver's side and tried to keep the door open and his foot on the curb, thinking it would be a quick buy. But the men quickly pulled off, telling Derek to shut the door. Allegedly, one of the men asked him like, yo, you want to see what it looked like? Before throwing a bag in the back seat. Thinking it was grass, Derek looked inside before looking up to a Tech 9 being pointed at his stomach and someone stating, get him the money. Derek got into a fight or flight mode and decided to try his hand at getting away. He started fighting the man with the blick in the back seat, with him grabbing the barrel of the gun and headbutting the man, holding it, making him lose his grip. Growing up in a military family, Derek had knowledge of guns and had control of the blick as they fought for it. He tried to aim the gun to the floorboard of the car and shoot to unload it, but it clicked and it wouldn't shoot. Then he hit the safety and ejected the clip and it fell to the floorboard. Derek tried to keep fighting, but the other passengers started beating him. Outnumbered, he couldn't do nothing but get him the $1,000 of cash he had on him. The man then regained possession of the gun and loaded it, as one of the passengers told Derek to get out the car and run, in which as soon as the door unlocked, the front passenger allegedly told the driver, bust him. Derek attempted to run away in a zigzag pattern, knowing bullets was about to come his way. He looked back and allegedly made eye contact with the driver and saw him fire before hitting the ground. And in his own words, everything in his body seemed to fall asleep and started tingling, and blood was everywhere. The car took off. Before fading out, Derek was able to call police and then went unconscious. Officers responded to find Derek on the ground with a single 9mm shell next to him. He gave a description of the shooter and whip, and as a photo lineup was put in front of him, Derek pointed out the driver and alleged shooter as Kahim, aka Cutthroat. Derek would go into surgery, but the bullet hit his spinal cord, leaving him paralyzed from the waist down. 5 days after the robbery, police saw a silver Dodge driving and pulled it over. The driver was Kahim. He was arrested and interviewed, in which he told police he was in Leesburg the time of the shooting and didn't know Derek or anything about a robbery. But as an examination of his cell phone was done, records allegedly showed his phone pinged off phone towers in Lakeland and didn't hit in Leesburg until after the shooting. Investigation allegedly also showed Kahim texting friends, stating the only witnesses from the shooting was Derek and a young lady D. With this information, he was taken into custody and charged with attempted murder, robbery, and armed kidnapping. Once in custody, allegedly, the street started talking. Now not in fear, witnesses and others in the community told police that Cutthroat was involved in hitting a mechanic back in 2008 when he was only 15. And he also was involved in the ongoing gang war in the area that eventually led to the gas station shooting and more. With that information, Kahim was charged with the cold case murder of Ernest on top of the new charges. As the case made the trial, it was assumed Kahim and another man did that to Ernest. But with all the time that went by in the case, he was acquitted. As the case involving Derek made it to trial, Derek, now in a wheelchair, testified about the day that changed his life forever and the mistakes he made. But Kahim's lawyer argued all the evidence was circumstantial and Derek wasn't in good condition when he told police Kahim was the shooter. But the prosecutors argued if that was the case, why would Kahim text his friends and know who the witnesses was? Also about why he lied about his alibi. He was eventually found guilty of the robbery and attempt and was sentenced to life in prison. As far as Derek, according to sources, after the incident, he fought hard to work on and regain his abilities and would go out of town to Kentucky for therapy. I'm not sure of his condition, if it remained the same or not. Rest in peace to all the people who lost their lives in this situation. I send my prayers and condolences to the families. More of this story, be careful who you trust. Stay in your lane, because one mistake could change your life forever. As far as Cutthroat, he earned street fame and made a name for himself. But that same fear in the streets and fame ended him with a life sentence. I'm sure he would rather be a nobody out here in a free world. But now, it's too late. Don't waste time chasing street cred, because at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter at all. So remember, we gotta succeed, not to fail, so we won't be just another hood tale. Man, crazy story, man. Salute to Lakeland, Florida. I ended up going down there, for some personal issues when I was trying to get my daughter, and she was living down there, so I'm familiar with the area. But yeah, man, this whole situation was wild. Like I said, rest in peace to them young men who lost their life as well, according to sources in this situation. And I probably will be covering stories of them in the future. But yeah, I ain't gonna talk y'all head off, man. Leave it in the comments. Let me know what you think. I definitely appreciate you if you made it to the end of the video. This your boy Tony 2 times. This another episode of Hood Tales. Love, fam. I'm out.